about the functions of the NIA, or rather the formal functions of the NIA, and how the agencies has been doing its work. And you've explained one important issue, that intelligence agencies, in the exercise of their mandates, oftentimes indulge in illegalities.
Ko ya fo jam fana kuma kan kono ko kullo doko bunda ko doko ila doko kono wato do beje ka ko dol kelmen yalon ko luwanta yalla.
And we have touched on a few areas.
Fanna dandanuma o ko kono le.
One is the spying on political opponents of the government.
Wolem follow ka kullo sunya ke opposition la dinkiraldo ni be bengol ke kan damendo.
With a view to advantaging the government in power.
Nin kamala puru ka sembota ka jay de maro kam mansala membe siring.
And the second is secretly funneling funds to private endeavors through the secret service, through the secret agency like the NIA.
Wato do beje fan kullo kono ka depansiro ke kul do bunda do la men ya lonko ka tamaning NIA la tamande bulol la kullo kono.
I would add a third limb, which is drug dealing. But let's go back to the first limb to interrogate that a little bit.
Council,
a little
is the witness.
Yes, go ahead. You wanted to say something?
No, okay. Already.
Yes. Just a little while ago, Honorable Mai Ahmed Fati, who is, I understand, the leader of a political party, had complained in the press that their phones were being tapped.
We are
not, we don't have the jurisdiction to deal with what is happening now. But I use that as a basis. Ask whether things like this used to happen during the 22 years of Jammeh, the tapping of the phones of political leaders with a view to advantage the government in power.
Ko political party lo ila nyaton ko pour ila telephone nying ke la mo ila telephone ila diamo la ka menke fo be wolbe keri nunu ba.
Thank you, Council.
Lumbara Council.
Like we started by talking about the normal modus operandi.
Ko nga folo nyame nga damu takakacha du kulu tamandi nya silatilindula.
And most of our work is supposed to be discreet and then works around the gray areas of the law and sometimes even breaking the law.
Andu na do ko dolu akake kulloti andu jama akake luwa janjangolela andu dolu jama akake kulleti men yalon ko fango ini luwa bukata nyola.
These are supposed to be discreet so that it doesn't bring a public outcry.
Nyilu akake nyine kama ayake kulloti katu ibukalafi jama yalon nasina diamo wulindi.
Now coming back to the political.
Murunam political kang.
It is true that, like I said, the objective of the unit, the purpose was defeated.
Ko nga funu nyaming dalilo aning hammo membe duku bunda kunna in unata tinyale.
Simply because instead of focusing on the core
wala mnyinti ko inyante nya tilin na do ko fongo bunda nyim fangla lo dalilo lu melnu kang.
It was diverted to become advantaging, as you may want to call it, the incumbent.
Nata kenyileti ko e ka kenyine kamma memmu banko nyaton ko ti ka sembentu ya ka makoi.
And these I can say based on the activities.
Adun safono nying abelarin do ko lu Kenya le kang.
Simply because, like I said, you mentioned one example.
Ko ngafo nyaming ita fango ye taman ser kilindi jang ye misale kilim fo jang.
That was not supposed to happen, because if only that is going to happen,
O manyang kela bari natara wo be kela fana wo koto munyineti ko.
it means that particular politician or political party is suspected, highly suspected, of engaging in some kind of clandestine activities to destabilize the government out of the political world.
Na be kela fanang akakelarin ku sobe wala kan ko isobita ko nyim politik party o wala nyim politician kari ad bulobe kulle kono menia lonko wolu be kela kutinyaleti wala ka kulu samba banko kan menia lonko wolu bina nya jawole nati la banko kan sinin samu.
Back in the days, the few I could remember, I was a junior, but I know everybody will remember Moja G.
Komantonu wati jang katotumo palasi duman kole bembulu bari nimmolu hakilo ba kan kafusoton tanun ikafome Moja G.
These were political activists
Nyulumu politiko tamandila leti
based outside,
bari ibe banko e bantalale
but with a foothold here and very strong within Banjul.
bari ye simfa loringo sotom jang andum wila kolu abenum banyunu satele kono.
So our main focus was to make sure their members are fully monitored.
Na nyatilinya mu mentinu wotumo wolem kafudingulu menube o kafonyin kono ibe kuokundin kela janka tamanding crossing along ibe mento.
Because the government back then and the intelligence community here back then believes their activities are out of the political political line.
Wotumo mansa kunda ye menje ani molu lata menna wotumo do kola karola wokafo molu ibe kolu menno tamandi kanjang a fintita politiko la sartol nim politiko la nya konole.
But then Moja,
bari wa wato la nyim moja kafoni
Moja Gambia at the time,
moja Gambia o wato
was classified as an unlawful organization.
ya yenyina fo ko to mo kafule me ya lonko inin loi man sembodi la pour sabati.
Exactly.
It is understandable
Mfaham la ko
that the activities of an unlawful organization may be monitored.
ko kafo me ya lonko loi man sembodi ala ila bara o bara la kila simfa ka menke ko to abe kala kule me ya lonko e bo kuson sonnal ka jube ka korosi,
Especially an organization
surru kafo
whose objective
me ya lonko ila hamendamu
is the toppling of the government of the day.
ila hamendamu mundi wala nyinde ko masakunda membe sirim pour ka masakunda nyim boyndi
Possibly
asikeno
through unlawful means.
nyin kamala sila la me ya lonko luwanta yalam.
On that basis, one can understand that.
Udalilo kang mo si wa faham nole.
But the monitoring
Bari o kusonsuro nyin kusondiro nyin
and the eavesdropping into the conversations of leaders of legitimate political parties
bari ni ajibe political party o me ya lonko luale o sabatindi
with the objective of advantaging the incumbent government
nyin ka sembota ka jayo ka nyin kamalo ko party o masakunda membe sirim pour ka sembodi ka de marodi wala
is by every standard unlawful.
o nyasi o be nyama ni ajube o mulu wanta yaldi.
If it was unlawful then, it would be unlawful now.
Where are they
doing it?
Of course, Council. This is why I said the whole objective is defeated.
Wala mu council wala nanganyim foko adalilo na lo tankangulu itinyatale.
Because you're talking about even wiretapping and putting them on surveillance.
The
extreme nature of trying to penetrate the organization with itself.
anin ka katanyin kamala ka mu ka dun ka fonyin fangola kullolu kono
were all things that were happening.
wolbe mo kulleti men be ke kan nun
All geared towards what? Knowing their moves so that you can move before they move.
ñim bebe mlari munekan ke ila kuke talulong ipareta mennu kala pour ñin kamala ni be kumen kala ite folosi tambi ñaato.
So in a nutshell, it's all geared towards, like you said, advantaging the incumbent.
Amunta ko ite fango ya fanyamin abebe lari ñine kanko kama koyro di ñaaton ko la membe siring wotumo.
This is absolutely wrong because that was not the purpose it was set out for.
Wo mukuleti memam tiling ka tudo ku bunda ñing amallo wo kamma.
If that answers your question.
It sure does. I'm just stunned. It sure does. I'm just stunned and surprised. 5 years ago, my party would not have been wrong. I don't know whether he's right today.
Sanji lulu ko ma 50 asigena abe kila mul mi alon ko amam filu malon fo nyina sainde abe to nyalla ba.
These are true.
Nobody
can deny that because, like I said, the NIA was set up from the onset to be bad, and it has been used and overused for the personal gains of the president.
Konga fanu nyamin ate o kilingolom NIA kabira folo dula ya londi nyana kama kakedun kira kurunguti adun kabiri wotumo ye itelube wo silole tamandi kan puru ka kuolu ke men ya lonko wolu be president doronne de mala.
Perhaps I should just underline the fact that the NIA is a national institution funded through taxpayers' money. It should not, must not, ought not to be used for the private gain of whosoever is leader.
Rasikeno min kuma kan jam be nyin nunenel NIA mu dingiral me ya lonko ya londi nyine kama puru banko na mu jola la kodo wolle ka mol jo wolle ya londi wala kama fana andu amanya na kala dingiral me ya lonko abe mol detela abe kuma mol la mol tala me ya lonko ko me ya fo ya nyamenten.
Thank you very much on that.
Inumbara bake.
A little while ago, we understood that the NIA was involved in policing or in investigating or interdicting drug dealing activities. And in that process, we got to learn that, in fact, NIA officers themselves used to be involved in drug dealing. As an institution, do you know whether they have ever indulged in, aided or abetted the dealing in drugs?
Ila londoro aseniate malabanko inana bulata droko julaya to ban waranto kamo kanandi droko julaya ko to ban
walla kama koyro
di mola.
Council, I'm on the oath.
Council ngakali oleke
During my time,
na wato kono
it didn't happen.
amanke no wotumo.
The only drug case that becomes a matter of concern that found me there was one.
Drog kunya meya lonko anatake meyente taraje wotumo kilinnem.
And I will give you the genesis of how that happened.
Andumbewo kunya lube boleye nyoto le aketa nyame.
You see, there was a counterterrorism unit funded by the Americans.
Bunda lorin sotontanu mende panso kabo americano lubulu men ya lonko wolu ye londinyine kama kijate lanna tambilalu la ko pour ka wolu noma sata,
which was doing very well.
Me ya lonko be do ku kende ke kanu, and
then they were managed by the Americans.
Andu wotumo americano le bulo be koto wolle ka do ku bunda nyin tamandi
in the fight against international terrorism.
Andu be menkele kanu wolem bankuni bankute ma tajireya ku tajireya lan na tambirngulu.
A lot of training were given to them and logistics.
Ye karandinum baake anenka bulodungi kotoka ila sula fengulu bon ka dila.
For whatever reasons,
bari dalila wo dalila menna ta sabu,
President one day just said he wants to close the unit.
President wulita lung kilina dorong aka lafta bunda soron nale.
By then Harisambu was there.
Utumo Harisambu bije.
And then when this news funneled to us,
Birinyin kibaro futatan toluma.
to me, I will say, and the director external saw,
Ante kungo ani utumo director membe na kulu nim bantala kulu kunna ka fae so.
We were very worried and concerned.
Ako ketanyen deungoti ayon sula.
Because we asked this question to him several times.
What do
we have to gain by disbanding the counterterrorism unit?
Nafajumale benteliye pour kanyin doku bunda sorong me yalon ko wollemu kijate lan tambila la ko no masatoti.
And then we all pleaded to him that please do whatever it takes.
Mbe wasita ko aketa nyawnyandi nyama ilakato dangoke.
You make sure the president don't disband this unit. Let them leave them to go because it is a very important arm.
Nga dani pru asa kata nyabe sio nyama ay president dani ka wasia e pru akana bunda sorong katu bunda le me yalon ko bela kato dango ke kanko solo bala nyami.
Whether he did or not, I don't know, but he said the president still wants to close it.
Fatenata wo wasio ke president we nabam fama ke mawolom bari president wa nata mem fanyang president belori nyine kanko abe bunda nyin soronna.
And they started commanding the vehicles, they are winding out.
Tumo le ya damuta pour motolu menu be wol buludo kola kawulu bondije andu ya damuta tumo pour ka bunda nyin na kolu tawn.
In the interim,
wo wuce kono
he was relieved of his duties.
Ya ala do ko busiala.
I took over from him.
When
I took over, that is my first assignment. So, fortunately, there was this one fine Friday I was called to the State House. I will call it as a briefing session and an interview. That's how I say it. So I went. The first thing that was on my list was about the counterterrorism unit.
Ufolo membe kolu kunto diamu kolu to wolem wobunda men ikafa counter-terrorist unit wolem kijate lan natambila la wobunda.
I told him that if at all you have any concerns or worries about how the unit is operating, tell us.
Nganye na fae ninde unkube dala wala sula kube dala wobunda katama nyaming afonye.
We'll try to see how we'll bridge that gap, but let us leave this unit to operate.
Mba katala nyabe sio nyama kene wo kene bije mba keno sukilale bari nga nyimbunda bula yetama.
Because we have a lot to gain, nothing to lose from leaving them to operate.
Nafa bale bentoliyeje adum femfentenyeje memben nafala nimbunda nyintaunda.
He was argumentative about saying no, these people they have been managed by the Americans and then they're even targeting business people, things like that.
Aketa nyosea kachati nyosaba mulungu kafoko hani nyimulu mbela obunda taunda lekatu nyilufangulu amerikano lebela kulu tamandikang amdang amanda wala fang ye nyatilin na julo dolu le la banko kang.
But I insisted.
Bari ntefanam bambanta lulo
talu respectfully.
Ngada ni bunyani horomo kang.
And then he said, okay, you can go and tell them to operate. Because that's Jammeh. He tells you one thing now, the next minute he changes.
Okay, bitung alta aliyebula yetama. Bari jammelam akanyina fo yesayin wati sutun kono ayelema ay kumadofo.
I happily went back.
Ninse wo muruta.
I told so well, he said we should allow it to operate.
Nkoso bituwo de ako nganyim bunda bula yetama.
So we were there and then when Pajalo came,
first
thing he complained to Pajalo is that I refused to close the counter-terrorism and he ordered me to close it.
I come follow mem for Pajalo wolem nyinti kontol balantale pour kawdo ku bunda data mem kijate lan tambino masata bundati andum ako Pajalo pour insa sorong ando anyina fo ko nga sorong wonoto.
So he closed it, but they came back to us to form another unit.
Nga taung
bari bitung means the Americans.
Imurut nga jesorong bari bitung Americano lunata muruntolu kang pour ka bunda do fana londi.
They said fine, we can close it, we can transfer the unit to the headquarters, but please think about, let us create this counter-narcotic unit.
Ko ha to nyang sa soron ngaje data barbitun si ila kolu saundi do ko bunda do to mem korda ba nyin na karoti barbitun bal danila ali bunda londi men ya lon ko wollebe bulala sira fenglu noma.
Because by then the biggest threat
ato tumo silandi kuba membe keri
drug activity.
Wolem sira fen jawolu tamanya be kerin no nyamen gine bisaw banko kan.
Drugs were flowing all over and Gambia was used as a transit point.
Adu otumo sira fengolu drogo abetama kanyabe sio nyama kabogene bisaw andu otumo ye Gambia ke temankaleti nyin drogo lu katambini ndamenna.
When they said that, and they sold it very well to us, they said they will give support. So we looked at it, we said, okay. I remember I even raised this question, what about the NDA? Did you try to approach them about the creation of this unit? In a nutshell, what they told me in that meeting, to sum it all, is like there was no trust.
The DG, current DG of NIA, appeared here as a witness. And the justification he gave is that there is an international dimension to this. And it was their responsibility, therefore, to gather intelligence on the matter. And I think that's a reasonable explanation. But the NIA was not limited to that. They were conducting actual operations. Would you consider that overreaching or acting outside their authority, that it was ultra-virus, it was unlawful?
When you look at the setup of the NIA, in the first place, this is why I don't think that particular unit was even meant to be there. Maybe we could have been having, like I said, research unit whereby they will still be continuing to gather all this intelligence relating to whatever matter, especially that matter, and dish it out.
Bari kisikisiro la karola puruka abunda londi afayenia jube isi tamano le kakolu nyinin kakolu kulolu nyinin me yalonko na keta nyama ni kibaro kensum isadi bunda lula men yalonko wolle la tamandirom.
So you are therefore of the view that the NIA should have been limited only to intelligence gathering and then submit the intelligence gathered to the government institution that had primary responsibility over the issue, like NDLEA.
Well, that's how it should be. But unfortunately, because of the unit was set up there and it was approved by the DG, and then they said, okay, we'll operate with we have an international collaboration to fight drugs at our own level.
Bare bitun birina ta bunda nyi londi DG fongna ta song purka tamandi ko ha bitun silang wairi nga bankunim bankute mabulo soto jembe kulu tamandi le ko ya sarto din na nyami.
So this is how that unit came into being. So this is why
this
is why when that operation came, intelligence was gathered. And then they said it was credible. It's going to happen. So all of us are with the notion that, well, this is credible, especially when another element crept into it saying that there are drug law enforcement officers who are complacent.
bitun nata fo ha woto abetata e tamande bo nyama bari bitun kudole nata dunga kono meye de unda warande bring iko drug squad do ko bunda wala NDLEA la molu fangolu e dabe wo drug julañin kono.
So when Saul told me this, because he was the guy in charge,
bring so yenyum fanya kato atele ba ko kunnanu.
And I said, are you sure? Because this one thing about me is I want anything I am going to mobilize resources onto.
Nkaye nyindun koite male katundemu moleti me yalon ko kubenna karola nimbe de panso dundila ko kundin kunna.
I want to be pretty sure so that I can actually stand one day and defend it.
Wolem nyinti kon laftale koy ma kende ke isaje lung si soto ning abe sayin kanna nsilo no nga fasa roke akoto.
He said yes, it's credible. The source is very credible. He's communicating with them and they are going to transact this thing.
Ako ha kuto nyalom ku soto ringolem akani ka nyomoyle adunga konyin a telephone ba ko no masata la katamandi.
The correct procedure
silo me yalan ko wala nyanta kabulano ma
should have been to report to NDLEA.
wala miti kate danko NDA bunda la memma da droko kele nyala sira ma fe kele nyala banko ka.
Correct?
Tonya?
Yeah, when you look at the legislation and everything, they are the body tasked to fight drugs. That's fine. That's true.
Ha ni ajube sartol ni lu ala karola wala mdo ku bundati yemennu sasi pour ka sira fe kele banko ka.
If you did not trust the NDLEA, you go to the police.
Imalla bunda la menka sira ma fe kele banko ka ita police wala karola.
Correct?
Tonyala.
It was wrong for the NIA to be involved in that operation.
Manyang puru NIA yeke molti men be dabula law do ko nyin kono.
Council, I absolutely agree because they have the legal backing.
Council sonta la nyama katu lu ala karola ayete le sembentu ya.
When you look at it that way, absolutely right.
Ito nyala.
Good. Like I said, a lot of things were happening in NIA doesn't necessarily have any legal backing.
You mentioned counter-terrorism unit. Were they involved in rendition programs?
Not that I know of, honestly. Because I had a very short time with them. Because as you can see my service history, I spend a lot of time out. Within the short period I've been there, to be very honest, I've not seen it.
Have you seen or heard about this Saudi guy who was involved in Yemen, who was taken out by the Americans?
Fo ya mwele bang warando fo inana jele bang ni Saudi dingo nying men na kumo fota jenu mi ko ya findinde
men na ko fota no
Yemen ya findinde America.
I am not sure which country, but I heard.
You're talking about Gambia.
What I'm saying, no, what I mean about whether it's a Saudi or Yemeni.
Yes.
I'm not sure about where, but I heard, yeah.
We received information that we provided, or we had in the past, provided safe houses that were used as places for torture as part of these rendition programs.
That is true.
Council.
See, I don't know whether it is right to spill everything out here, but I will tell you this.
This one is not just national security. This is pure blatant human rights violation.
That's what I'm saying.
If some countries think that torturing people in their countries is a violation, why would they come do it in our country? We have to get this right. If it is not good for them, it should not be good for us. Well, if their citizens won't accept it, we should not accept it here.
Banku ding bantala bankolu ila dingulu ila molu ning iteli la banko ka yajele ko purka molu mutake tajire yaje amantili itelu malla fala itakela woto imanyanna nalanto la banko kanjam purka na woke jang wairi itelu fangolu ya itakela je.
You see, the counter-terrorism unit has been operating.
Yajele wo bunda menketa kijate la natambi no masata lante.
Could you take that again
foreign organizations, the Americans, in code.
Bantala kafolu meno beko Americanolu konga
I think, in my personal opinion again,
nga mira nte fansu miro lem nyintide.
the reason why they choose all country but Gambia,
Nyinana ye bankudolu tuje inata Gambia tombong.
notorious nature of the country.
Bankola kulu taranyale yo sabu.
Notorious for what?
Notorious for all the abuses.
Katu Gambia tole botako tejire yalu ning lanna katambo nyanta tinyalu la karola Gambia to bota wala nung.
So what cannot be good in Senegal could be good in the Gambia.
Umem mambetayano Senegal woto wokulu lanya kama isa keno le Gambia.
So we were torturing here, so they can also come and torture here. Is that what you are saying, Mr. Witness?
That's what I'm implying. Because, yes, they've been operating with them. Arrests were made, I heard, and then they were kept here, sometimes in the same cells you described. And then whisked away.
Do kolu tamatale mutarolu keta andu kanyulu fanglu ni omolu be dundi sel kilingol le kono yewulu landi dam yewulu mutadum dami yeke daming akolu tamata nun jangole nyama.
From what you were saying, was it like a mini Guantanamo Bay in Gambia?
Maybe not up to Guantanamo, but
a mini.
Guantanamo Bay adomandi ma.
Well, if you want to describe it that way, I think it's reasonable. Because we all know they don't just set up the unit and then putting all resources there for nothing.
Was it just limited to the Americans?
As far as I know, yes.
Did it or did it not extend to some country or countries in the Middle East?
For akwoman jam fakatafuta bankudoma wala bankoluma menube arabo latundo kange kafuda me Middle East.
It could be, but
like
I said, to be honest with you, my interaction with that unit is limited. I'm sure there are people still serving who serve in that unit pretty well.
Thanks for that information. If the commissioners are interested in looking a little more detail into this, we would try to find the appropriate witnesses and call them. So then let's move on. Let's move on the issues. So now let's come to 2006.
2006.
March.
March karoko.
22nd or 21st.
March karoti morning killing.
You were in your office. What happened?
Okay, prior to 21st, when this issue or this matter of an abortive coup was still cooking, I was at the counter-espionage unit. So, on the whole, there was an informant from the military. And then contacted one of our officers, Bamba Mane. He's late, may Allah have mercy on his soul.
Anata fere ke hanfo ayenna doku la kilinje ka kibaro diwala ka faye Bamba Mane bari amari e atambitale alama nemanin kafarkelaye.
And then this informer told him about a planned coup that is going on.
Kibar dila kuloto anata nyimfo Bamba Mane enko ha fero la sitita de me yalon ko pareta man sakunda boindila.
And then when Bamba received this information, he was very close to Captain Lamin Sen.
He was
the director of strategic planning. So when they heard it, I think there was a little push as to who is this source of yours? Reveal it. No, I will not reveal it because you never know.
ngalon otumo nyo sabandingo ketaje jumale nyin kibaro dila haninta mari fole hani ba fulale o nyo sabandingo ketaje
finally they met the source and he explained everything in detail.
Bari ko labandulato meyo kibaro di bambala inyo mari nata nyoja ay ko nyim bebo ye nyoto.
And I think Sen transmitted the message to the late Daba. May Allah have mercy on his soul too.
Tembolo ngamira Sen nata o kibaro di tala Daba marena la alama nema nin kafarkela afanaye.
At this stage, what position did Daba hold?
Daba was Director General.
Otembo Dabale mu Director General tidoku bunda la sutio.
And then the sensitive nature of it, I believe again, tactical mistakes or strategic mistakes always happen in this field.
Adunata la menna wolem nyintiko nyinko mu kibar solarim baleti adun filolu kakele memmu kolu lanyani do kolu sambanya filoluti ngalongol dolu keta ko nyinko.
So Daba informed the counter-terrorism unit.
Dabanata o kibaro di bunda la ekafo bunda me counter-terrorism unit wolemu kijate lan natambila no masata bundati.
And tasked the head of that unit.
Anatani saso di wodoku bunda nyaton kola.
One Balajo.
Ikafa mariene num Balajo.
Balajo, yeah.
Balajo.
And then they were handling it at their level.
Tung akonyin tarta itolebulu ilawo bundala.
Then Sen and Daba were communicating about the same issue.
Sen and Daba ibenyomo kang atenyin kukilingola.
I think Daba was trying to ascertain the credibility.
Nalo tumo Daba benyine kata kampuruka kumakoyo soto je foto nyalo foto nyande.
Then he decided to contact one of the state guard personnel.
Tumolong anata nyimira purka dia mansala kantarla do kulalu kilinkono ikafo le state guards.
I think it was Tumbul.
Juma ngamira ikafa mariene Tumbulu. Alama nema kela
Tamba.
Tumbul Tamba.
While they were at Mauritania on a visit.
Utumo itata kumpaboro la Mauritani kumpaboro la je.
So when Tumbul got the information and then Daba communicating back to Sen, and it was absolutely clear that the sources are from the military and they were the purported members.
Birin Daba yo for Tumbule adung bitun Dabanin Tumbul benyo moeka inataje ko so jaro la kulom nyenti andung wole mkuti meya lonko abekerin nuotumo.
So he's absolutely sure that yes, this is credible.
Anatala nyina ko he to nyala nyimuku soto ngolti.
Then this is how he instructed the then director of intelligence for the first time, informing him, who was Singate.
Utumolem sinya follow ay kibaro di mola me yalon ko wolem kullo dinkaringulu kisikisi bundati ka fay utumo Singate.
And when Singate received the information,
birin Singate yo kibaro soto.
This was the 20th.
Abenda karoti limuango lefe.
20th or the 21st, I'm not sure.
Karoti limuango wala karoti limuan kilungu amanko malung kilungu memu.
Singate did the right thing by calling
Singate menke wolem kuto nyate ay kumandiroke
unit heads, especially my unit, counter intelligence.
Ay bunda nyaton ko le kumandi katabula ntefangola bunda la men yalonko woleka e kullo sungul nin tinyara la ko no masata.
So when you said earlier that when Daba received the information, he briefed counterintelligence.
No. Maybe I made a mistake there.
Could you take that again?
Yes, what I mean is when Daba received the information from Sen, the first person and the unit he briefed to handle the matter and look into it was the counterterrorism.
Counterterrorism. Yes. My mistake.
Yes.
Kibaro di bunda mem follow la ke ilonda la wolem counterterrorism men mukullo sungul nin tiar la
that was Balajos.
Yes.
Wolem balajola bunda tin telefilter baraka.
So then when he briefed us that day, was around 2-3. And we were all kind of shocked. Like I said, the NIA was not collecting. We were supposed to be collecting these things well before. But like I said, the distractions were too much. Like I said earlier, we couldn't. So when we received it, we were all shocked. And then we said, okay.
Ndelo biringa kibaro nyin soto akilraimbe kijate olti katu kungafuko kujamalle beke kam menu kam min ko dindi do kolu dolu Kenya la bari bitum biringa kibaro soto aketanyen kijate olti bitum tumole nteko.
So we said, what do we do from here? Then we said, okay, the DG, he said DG is aware.
Nko woto silan telinyanta munekela nko ha bitunde wairi silan DG fango bota kalama.
He said DG has briefed the president.
DG kachata president ngo yenne.
And I think arrangements are on the way to round them up.
Andu ngalon fero lube kerine puruka imolu muta.
But I said, then what do we do at our level? He said, just be vigilant and then make sure you are all out on patrols to pay attention to everything.
Nko silango ton teludu nyanta munekela ya maro mendin tolla wala nyinti mbeye ke korosir laluti ngang hakilo tu nga molu bula menu betarla banta ka murumurum ka jube roke pour nyin ko kamma.
So that day I was at home, I went home.
Wolun tenga birinji ta do ko lan seita su.
And then as I was driving,
mbe moto borinde kambita kan
the evening,
uraro.
And then information came that there was they had a shot at the State House, a gunshot.
Nyinki baro na tafuta majele ko kidika ngo kumatale the State House.
And then when I received the information, I said, it is what they have briefed us, I think is coming into fruition.
Wolom nyinti ko woto ya kibaro mendin tolla woto akonyin datitale katama.
Then I quickly rushed. I contacted a colleague of mine, Ibrahim Fai. And then we all were trying to drive towards Banjul. Just to have a first-hand knowledge and idea of what is happening. And as we were driving, we could see that it seems like the traffic going to Banjul were the only people driving on it. Whilst the other lane is jam-packed. So we drove carefully, went through Banjul, divert Independence, go around the market just to see how things, but it was like the streets are empty.
Kata Independence Drive, kata Marseoma Fangola,
I remember calling Sering Modu at that juncture at some point.
Hakilo bakan wati soto, state guards la nyaton ko Sering Modu nga command.
Sering Modu what?
Is it you? I'm not sure. Sering Modu Njai, yes.
Sering Modu Njai.
And he was sounding tense and busy and said, yes, everything is under control. We are preparing to go out. And then he couldn't even talk long and then hang up.
Katu mole motumo amunta ko abedete ring kolu be siaringa bulu abe hawjaring barbitu nala diamo fong manna jamfa akonyen ko ha kolu be ben kotole kolu be maradinne nyin tembe fauntel paretale pour ka fundi.
When I heard that, we quickly brushed by the headquarters and get out.
Yo bitun sila ngani mutako wati sutu ngadundo ku bunda kono ngaboje ngata.
And we later heard that the president is coming back home with the entourage. By then they said, okay, the safest place we can all meet is at the counterterrorism unit because it was based in Bijilo.
Counter-terrorism unit
Don't tell us exactly where. Just proceed.
Okay. So when we went there, we had a brief meeting to strategize issues since the president is coming and then this thing is going on, the soldiers are on an operation. So everything was just too tense.
Bitumbrim bentaje nka chata pour ka kolu faynyo kan ka kolu bonyoto fanan ka kolu sindi nyoma andum nyim fanan nga lonko sojaro lu bela du ko ke kanne andum president fanan be say kannan ne woto nga kata nga kolu tembendi nyama menni sarto lu sita.
So then the president came, Daba came with him.
Bitumbrim president onata anin Daba nata nyola.
Daba came and we had a brief meeting at the counter-terrorism unit. We briefed him, and he also briefed us that the soldiers will take care of everything. In fact, in that meeting, he made us know that actually they were also prepared when they were coming. Because the Mauritanian Special Forces were on board.
Gato Murtani fangola kullo ila sojar parering menu ka ku fasongolu noma wolu fangolu be ifele kulungo kono.
But they didn't disembark.
Bari wolu manna ji kulunti la kono.
So he thanked all of us and said, everything is under control. You all have done a good job. Well, the matter is under control, so we dispersed.
Bitung anatan numbara ayen jayi ay kumakendo lu fonyen ko silan ko be tembo mento ngakolu be londile atembeta ngakolu be marale ala barka baka Allah kataku kendo kam bitun janjanta.
Did he express any worries about how the president may have felt?
Of course, he expressed some worries simply because he felt betrayed.
Bitung anata la deunda yitandile president la deunda ko ato president la karola nyine yitandiko amunta yate jamfale.
Because he said he confided with Tumbul Tamba.
Ako kato ate fangoni Tumbul Tamba dia mutale.
And Tumbul didn't give him the answer, the response he was expecting. Ate jikita jabiro men na Tumbulu bulu. Tumbulu manna okfate ye. And then instead he went and briefed the president.
Tumbulu tententa wole nyama katadi amu president we.
When he called Daba, he accosted him.
Biringay Daba komande amunta sangara mulunta bulu.
Very angry with him that why didn't you tell me?
Kamfata Daba bulu ka fay muna na imanyin kumo fonye.
Daba told him that this is an information. I'm trying not to give you something that is not credible. I'm trying to ascertain the facts.
Daba kay niaje ma foye manya ngakuma soto balo foye bari fonga kata hanu fo ngakuma koyo soto lata menna utumo len lafta na ala kanadia muye.
Told him this is why I was going to come to you, but I was trying to get the details.
Daba kay mparetal num pour kanete kang bari jan nimminete kan lafta ngakuma koyo soto mbina mennati lete.
So the president snubbed him all. He said, I think he snubbed him throughout.
Bitum nga nyim fahamu jele ko president ya nya kasiala ayada kuntu wala kabiru otumo.
So you could see Daba, unfortunately, he looks worried.
Niya Daba jube wo tembo fango aketa moleti me yalong ko niya cross yalong abe deundinne.
So we dispersed. We said to ourselves, as this thing is going on, I'm and Fai, myself and Ibrahim Fai said, let's quickly go back to Banjul, and then from there, I'm tired, we can all go home since they said the military is handling the operation.
Bitum birintelio bengo ke njanjanta tumo menna ntani mpafai bitum ko okay ngata Banjulu ngata je kolu jube hanni mallo je bar bitum nimbota jensi sai ngata solu kono katu tumo telefona lu batata le wotumo.
So I went to Banjul, the headquarters. I prayed Isha prayer.
Ntata Banjulu korda ba nyento nga safo salije.
And as soon as I'm ready, as I got up trying to go to my vehicle to go home, then the gate opened. And I saw soldiers. Alaji Martin, I could remember, Kor and Bunjadabo. They arrested Bunjadabo in cuffs.
Hakilo yemenje wolo Alaji Martin anin Kor anin Bunjadabo bar Bunjadabo utumo yo bulolu chen.
So he told me, why is everybody?
Utumo la kwenye mobile.
And I told him there was no one here. Everybody's gone. I'm the only one.
Nka mobe janjantal dente dambale tutajang.
He said, well, the president says, you people should start let me bring this person, and then you people should start investigation immediately.
Utumola konyanko ha president le konga nyin kari nyimmo kari nati jang andu ako aliye kisikisiro damuta kabrin sain.
I was confused because it has never been part of my plan for that day.
Aketa nyang hakili nyamoti kato mantarantela ferolu kono wuluntilo.
Honestly, I don't know what to do.
Tonya kinja kalta malumbe munekela.
The only thing I could tell him, okay, take him up to the conference room, let me make some phone calls.
Ngamemfaye no wolem asamba bembungoto na conference room oto bitumbe telephone commandiro lukela.
So I tried Daba that night, I couldn't get hold of him.
Ngadaba kata wolo suto bari masoto no.
I tried Aliu, I got him.
Nga Aliu commandi nga osoto.
And then I explained what is happening.
Utumole nga kulu sata Aliuye membe caring.
And then he said, okay, you stay there, let me call the others and see what is happening. I think he also made consultation, and later I was informed that there will be a panel coming from the police, and a panel will be set up. You people should start immediately.
Bitum tumo le mai modolu kumande ay dolu soto anata nyim fanyanko woto sayin ite yem batuji bitum ngalo tumo le nyim fero city pour ka panelo parendi wala molu be mennu tombon na kana dolu be wala police anim bunda ko tan wala kana.
So this is how I find myself in that very unfortunate circumstances.
When I
went upstairs, finally, in the conference room, it is a bride room.
Conference room, and
I was able to properly look at Bunya. I realized that he's struggling with pain. Like one of his arms, I don't know which one, because he kept, mourning and then moving it around and mourning. And I asked him, what is wrong with it? He said, my hand, I think it's broken.
Utumole mngakoro siko abulo be mininding abulu kilingola andu wate akaw ding abulo memma akanguntane na nguntanta abulo nyinga munta kawle manata fay munebe kering akonye nanyim bulo dal ngamira akatitale.
And when I see that and the handcuff is still on him, and I told Martin, remove the handcuff, this guy is in pain and he's not going to go anywhere.
Utumole mbiringa kolu korosi nko matini ali hankofo bondi nyim buloto katu nying abe dimingule kono nyimman silo soto purkata dawoda.
He sat down.
Asita.
Then later everybody started converging.
Did
Martin remove the handcuffs?
Yes, I believe he removed it.
What do you say to the suggestion that he didn't?
I will be surprised, but it's a possibility. But because I remember telling him to remove the cuffs.
Apart from this guy groaning about his hand, did you notice anything about him?
Sure, sure, because like I said, when I saw him under the bright light, I saw that his shirt somehow is torn, and I look at him, I knew he was gone through some kind of a tussle.
Bringa korosi ngaje ko ala dundi ko fongdula be fararing ngalong ko nying adunta ku ko le ngokonole.
So
what kind of tussle are you talking?
Maybe he was malhandled.
Asikeno ya tilimbalia.
I think he was malhandled because that's the only explanation I can give.
Namira ya tilimbalia le katunsi
he will not do that to himself.
Kadumem ketala ateokela afangola.
Would you therefore say it was obvious he was tortured? He was brutalized.
Yeah.
Could you answer now?
Yes, he was brutalized.
And what did you see on him which suggested to you that he was brutalized? You've told us about the broken arm.
Yes, apart from the arm that is broken. I can see the shirt is torn, sort of. So I knew there was some kind of a struggle between him and his captors. Or maybe there was no struggle, they just did it to him.
Did what to him?
What his situation, like beating him and causing that harm to him.
Apart from the broken arm and the torn shirt, what else did you notice about him which suggested to you that he was tortured?
That's the
only thing I could see at that juncture, at a glance.
Did you see bruises, lacerations?
No, I didn't see that.
Did you see any swellings?
No, I didn't see that. Except the arm, he's complaining.
In your statement,
ya kuma kan safere ngodo
this is what you said.
fele ye memfo
Bunja was the first soldier brought into the NIA headquarters, escorted by Martin, Manlafikor, and others I can't remember.
njala mo folo de memu sojar folo de me yalan ko ya muta ya nati sojar NIA je andu me ya nati je wala Martin di Kor aning sojar kotangol.
I would skip a little bit of what you said. Just exactly as you described it. However, at first glance, I could see that Dabo was in pain and his shirt was kind of torn. I knew at that point he must have been manhandled or mishandled by his captors.
Utumoni ajube nga korosi abulo la dimu kola ala dondi ko be fararing utumolo ngalon ko amunta men ya muta ya tilimbali yale.
This person, when he testified, he said he was beaten
I said yaro ketumo menada ko ya lipale
as he was being brought to the NIA.
Wato me banati kankana NIA.
That could be true. That is even true because, like I said, what I saw, nobody will do that to himself.
How soon after his arrival was he interviewed?
If
I want to put a time to it, it's not too long.
Because 1 hour, 2 hours?
Let's gauge it between an hour, maybe an hour to something like that.
So then a panel was instituted soon after their arrival. Who was present?
Well, the police started arriving, the Dembaso came. Dembaso with Cham, Malamin Sise, Bodoketa.
Lamin Cham, right?
Yeah.
Dembaso, Lamin Cham, Bodoketa, Malamin Sise.
Tindur. With some orders, I'm not sure.
Tindur, right?
It would be, yeah.
Okay. 6 people came from the police.
Okay. I believe so. I believe so. So then the NIA was there, and then later Nuru Seka joined us because he was direct to operation, I believe. I'm not sure.
How about Fai?
Fai was there.
That would be Pa Ibrahim Fai.
No, Pa Ibrahim Fai and another Fai is different. Pa Ibrahim Fai is the Fai I told you who I was traveling with.
That's right.
Yeah, but this other Fai is a junior officer.
Okay.
I'm not sure his first name. Is it Babukar? No, I'm not sure.
Let's say Fai. Then who else?
With some other NI officers.
How about Bubaji was not there?
No. I cannot remember. It's possible. Yeah. From the military, I know Fali Jaban came. I don't think Bo was there. I think there is this guy they call Bojang. I'm not sure. His name. Somebody else from the military police. I'm not sure. The names are my problem.
And how about Martin?
Martin as the captor, obviously he was there.
Martin atelo mutarlati abije.
And did anybody else come from State House?
From Mobile State House back.
You know, these soldiers from the State House, they come in different forms and stages.
Ni menu kabuna State House ni sojarulu ikana nyasi jamalema.
It was Martin Malafikor.
Follow Dulato Martin ni Malafikorle.
And the others, I don't know them.
And in Dulu bari maulu long.
How about Tumbul?
Tumbul came later.
Maybe
before the end of the day or the following day, but I would say he came later.
About Musa Jame?
Musa Jame, the same thing.
Musa Jame
because
when Martin arrived with Bunja, did he alone bring Bunja?
No, he was with Malafikor. And other soldiers, I don't know.
2
or 3.
How were these soldiers dressed?
Yeah, usual fatigue. I think some of them are in blacks. Some of them are
Well, here we call them black.
Yeah, the men in
black. Just black.
Men in black. Men in black. Code G Gambia.
Men in black.
Any headgears? Some of them. But this is why I couldn't even recognize some of them. For Martin and Cor.
So for the masked men, where did you believe they came from?
State guards.
At that stage, did you know of a name they were called with? They were called by?
Junglers.
Was this generally known to members of the panel? That these were the junglers?
So. Because this is a small country and we all serve in the security sector. And of course, I know every smart security personnel. What feeds you and what keeps you going is information you tap from different angles. You are curious.
Yeah, council nyilmumo letmeli alonko bitun nge lonne ni meta do kala katu bunda jamal lebe jambeni alonko nge fahamu anin kolu meni alonko etel katama wala kabalu wala.
How was their appearance to you when they arrived? How was their appearance?
Very intimidating to me personally, not to talk of somebody who is helpless.
Ntefango kungo ila kuoketa nye sila nyaleti sako mome yalonko iteliole muta.
And in a huff, if I may put it that way, in view of the short time it took to set up this panel, you all converged at the NIA headquarters to conduct an investigation. Where were the service chiefs at the time?
They came to join us that night.
To participate?
Lantambong came and the former IGP, what's it called, Sanko?
What was the status of Langtombong in this panel?
Well, if you want me to dilate on that a little bit, Langtombong's status in the panel, we see him as the superior officer who will direct us, guide us, and also answer to our concerns, because there were concerns. And we look up to him.
Wotumo wairi atella palaso be santo palasiti bale muati woto ngaje ko atelo moti me ya lonko atele bentolu ya marila ka kulu fanyen andum fanan ntel nganyalo atele kan ko atelom kulu nyaton ko te alaw palaso to o palaso nyin kamawulu.
I mean, this was a multi-service.
You
said you looked up to him
for
guidance and directions. Would you say that de facto he was the leader of the group?
By virtue of his status, his position, and everything, yes, there couldn't be any other leader.
Ala palaso aningala kobe tembeda amendo tonya nyaton kadoti jemensi tambiatela.
Well, the NIA is part of our disciplined forces. So I would imagine that the concept of superior or command responsibility is well understood in the service. Would you say he had command or superior responsibility?
Yes.
For what was going on in there?
Nia jube kangolu bunni nyaton kolu la kolu kabula nyono manyami wotumo ka foko wairi NIA obije wotumo sa fono atela palaso na la kango betembo mento woto atelon kolu be kunton kote sedo ko ha.
He's the senior person naturally. In service seniority matters a lot.
Andung atelom nyaton koti je adung bitun do ku bunda la karola nyaton kolu la ko kuma yata je bake.
But at that point in time he was just deputy CDS.
Barotembo atele simbe sojaro la kunton kokang.
Even though he was deputy, everybody in that room has not reached that level.
Anna telebe kunton ko noma mtolu meolu membebe bungokono moti je men na palaso futata utembe datu.
There was the Director General of the NIA.
NIA la Director General Vijay la suti o.
See, Council, I want you to just give me a little time. I want to dissect through this thing.
This is why you are here.
Because there are a lot of confusion to understand two factors or two parts of this whole panel. And I've seen several people struggling with you. And then if you allow me, with the help of Allah, maybe I will be able to point out what has been the point of argument here.
Its context, and do it quickly.
I will try. You see, when the panel was formed in the first day, the Director General of NIA by then, like I said, was nowhere to be reached.
Niaje lumfolo me yo panelo nyin londi kunga fo nyamin Director General membe NIA daba wotembo mo ma sotonno purka aje wala kadiamwai.
And the following day he was relieved.
Andu woso molem ya fonyondi do kwala.
So Director General was not there, but you have two superiors, Sonko and Langtombong.
Director General TJ, bari nyaton kafula bije, Lantombong anim Sonko.
When the panel converged the first day, we had an understanding.
Grim panelo benta lumfolo langawang nyofa hamo sotong.
Said this is a job we are tasked to do.
Imudo quality enteli sasi menna.
Let's try our level best to the best of our abilities.
Alinga katana kato dango futata daoda.
And conduct a very good job.
Nobody
torture anybody here.
Allow
them to flow. And then let statement takers take their statements. And then so that at the end of the day, we could compile a good report. Those who are guilty could be put in, those who are innocent they are put away. Put aside, and then the law can take its course.
The
whole confusion started about this panel. All our nightmares started when we see things evolving for the worst.
But Mr. Witness, things started to evolve even before you started.
It's true, but it will get worse at some point. I will give you that.
Bunja Daba was the first person brought before the panel. You agree that he was escorted by people who were already intimidating to you, let alone to Bunja.
That is true. This is why I said, matters will go worst.
Let's take it step by step.
Exactly. So you see, when Bunja came, what is mind-boggling? You have a gentleman who is sitting before a panel. We talked to him, asked him the question saying that, hey, this thing has gone bad. It's unfortunate. You are sitting here standing accused of being part of a coup plot. So please, Tell us, because it is not only you have co-conspirators. Just do everybody a favor, just tell us how it happened.
That's the first question asked. And he started to sing, isn't it? Do you realize that was unlawful?
Could be.
It was unlawful.
Okay, I agree. So,
first, this man arrived in pain. He was suffering. His arm was broken. You agree?
Agree.
His torturer was sitting right there.
Agree.
He was brought in by people who were already intimidating to you. And he sat there facing about 20 odd people, correct? In an intimidating environment, correct? And he was being asked to confess a crime of treason. Correct? Those were the first questions he was asked. You confirm that? He was not read his rights. True?
True. But okay, when you're done.
He was not read his rights. He was not informed of his right not to incriminate himself. Any confession you have received as a result became unlawful. You agree with that?
Council, I will agree, but take note. Take note, please. The Gambia in those days, now with all these procedural things you have to go through before you even take a confession, I can tell you then, go into that mile too. Everybody that has been jailed over the years, none of them will tell you, whether they pass through the police, the NIA, or whatever sector, will tell you these rights were read to them. I told you, it was a rotten system.
In fact, you just succeeded in telling us that it was a disaster in this country.
Disaster, yeah.
Rights of suspects were never respected.
That is a fact.
Perhaps it's the time for a break, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will take a lunch break and come back at 2:30. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.